back.
People all over the world want to come and see the Great
It's a
Barrier Reef,
manta
but there are
ray.
actually ways that people can come and help out with the recovery of the reef. The citizen science effort is paramount to this project. We want people to come to the region, go to the sites that we've recovered, take photos, send them to us, upload them, and then hopefully over time we can get an indication of how it's recovered. It's not too late for the Great Barrier Reef. If everybody does their part, then future generations will get to experience all of this.
So the good news is that there are a lot of helpers. You know, it's so easy with all the different things going on in the world and the environment to get sad about all the things that are getting destroyed. But the great thing is there are so many people who are helping and so many people who are doing extraordinary things and giving their lives to save these ecosystems in these environments. And marine biologists are one of those groups. So if you want to be a marine biologist, there's lots of camps you can go to as kids to experience what it's like to be a marine biologist. You can get your scuba certification. Let's see, how old do you have to be? Probably 9 is 10. So if you're 10 years old, you can get your open water diver certification and start scuba diving. And you can do that just about anywhere. And scuba diving is pretty cool. It takes a lot of responsibility. You have to be able to trust yourself and your partner to be careful, but it opens up a whole new world under the water. And even though I never became a marine biologist, which is what I wanted to be, I have gotten to dive all over the world and see all sorts of incredible sharks and fish and reefs and turtles. Yes, Angela.
I have 2 things. First of all, I'm about to be 10 in December.
Perfect. There you go.
And then the other thing is, I don't really know a lot of like the signals, like those hand thingy-majiggies that you have to do underwater. I
Those
do
are
know.
the easiest part.
No, it isn't. Is this one of them?
Yeah, that means no air. I
Huh.
should have, so I almost drowned once and I should have used that and forgot because I was panicking. But that one means no air. This one means okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You put your hand up above your head like this. What are the other ones? Those are the 2 you really need to know. Or I'm okay, or you could do okay under the water. Okay, you'll check.
What about no? What about no?
Well, you don't really use no under the water. Like you can use like I need to share your octopus. So there's all sorts of safety things. So when you're diving under the water, you always dive with a buddy, and the buddy has an extra air. This on their vests here, there's an extra regulator. That's this thing in the mouth. And so they dive close together, they're buddies. And then if something happens to your equipment, they can give you their extra regulator so that you have air, so that you can actually signal, I need to pull your air off of your vest and share air. And so that's one of the ways that you stay safe under the water is through diving closely with your buddy. You can see right there, they've got all their equipment and all of their gear. Yeah, but the scuba diving class isn't difficult. You need to be able to swim one length of the pool. I think I doggy paddled the whole thing, so if I can do it, you can do it. And you just have to learn how to be safe under the water. And the hardest thing to learn is how to float, because you have to achieve what's called neutral buoyancy, where you don't sink and you don't float. And that's all done with your breath and with this vest, which fills up with air. But if it's got too much air, you boing to the surface. And if it's got too little air, you sink down into the depths of the ocean. So it takes a little practice to get that right. But then once you get that right, you're golden. And then it's like flying. Another thing that's a big concern is invasive species in the ocean. We have a lot of them. The most common one are these things. These are lionfish and they look really cool, but they have a horrendous sting and they eat everything in the ocean. So anywhere you see these lionfish, and they're a big problem in the Bahamas and all of our oceans, they see he's killing all of them and bringing them in. Anywhere you live where they have lionfish, they ask you to kill them if you see them as a diver because they eat everything. They eat all of the native fish. So there's a big problem in our rivers, our streams, our oceans where people release pets and then they become invasive. So there's other places where goldfish have become invasive because people have released their pet goldfish that they didn't want anymore and then they took over everything. And I think that's how we ended up with the lion.
They put freshwater goldfish into the ocean.
Well, no, that wouldn't work. They wouldn't live. But lionfish are saltwater fish that people had in their fish tanks that they decided to release when they didn't want anymore, and then they take it over the oceans. So they're a big problem.
So
there's a
they're just
number-
like, excuse me, I don't want you anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just gonna send a freshwater fish into saltwater.
Well, no, people are
Mhm.
usually not that dumb. Usually they release them into the right type of water. But that's the problem, is because they do that, we get these invasive fish. So we've got zebra mussels in the Great Lakes are invasive. And then these lionfish are really, really a big problem. This is the fastest one. And then in Florida, boa constrictors, people release their snakes into the Florida Everglades. And now my cousins live in Florida, and anytime they see a boa constrictor, they have to kill it because they're taking over the entire ecosystem of Florida and turning it into these massive, actually, is it boa constrictor? It might be pythons.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pythons.
Is it
I was
python?
getting
Yeah.
pretty confused there. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's these Burmese pythons. So every time my cousins, one of them's a police officer and the other one is a emergency EMS. Every time they see one of these, they have to kill them because they're super, super invasive and they eat all the birds in Florida. So there's a whole bunch of people who every time they find a python, these enormous snakes,
Moss in Florida. There's a
Yeah.
lot of moss.
Yep. And then here we have a ton of invasive species too. Probably you guys would know about the lanternfly. In fact, my gardening newsletter just today was saying I need to report any spotted lanternflies and let them know if I see any of them. I did see one last year. These guys, these are bad news. Bad, bad, bad news. Because they're spreading everywhere and they're a very big problem. Yes. Ilva. Or maybe that's Angela.
Never mind. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, yes, Vivi.
Oh, are you European starlings invasive?
Well, there was a big hoopla in Nashville over those. So great
Oh,
question.
moth.
European
There's
starling.
lots of moss in Florida. I believe that's invasive.
Some of the moths are invasive. So these little guys, so
Miss Heather,
yeah.
and I think I remember what I was about to
Oh,
say.
sure.
Me and my sissy Angela, we went snorkeling when we were on Icon of the Seas.
Oh, very cool. And did you see lots of fish and turtles and cool things?
I did not like snorkeling. Salty ocean water kept on going up onto my mouth.
So you didn't get used to the snorkel. Yeah, they should have taught you how to clear your snorkel. There's a way to blow air into your snorkel to get the water out so you don't breathe in water.
Yeah, I tried blowing air out, but water still got in my nose.
Yeah, you kind of have to get used to it. It takes a little practice.
My sissy did do it though. Angie, I think, was able to.
Nice. Yeah, Chinese privet is a bush. Yep. There's lots of invasive plants too. We had, we had a crazy situation with the starlings actually. I don't think we have starlings, but we have a bird that's like the starling that people thought they were starlings, and they are these things, purple martins. And there was a whole big, massive fight in Nashville over these things because people thought they were starlings. They're not starlings. They're actually a non-invasive bird, but there were 100,000 of them. They all landed in downtown Nashville and they pooped all over the concert hall. And I think they killed the trees. They pooped so much. And so people threw a fit and they had to, this was during COVID, and so people were already grumpy. And it became a big battle between the people who wanted to protect these birds who migrate all the way from Brazil, you can see, and the people who wanted all these birds out of downtown Toronto. And can't remember what they ended up doing, but this happens every year. Let's see. So often it's a big fight between the people who want to protect these creatures and who want them to go away. So yeah, they're coming back anytime now, actually. And there they are, there's the concert hall. But these are not invasive. These are actually migratory songbirds that are also being hurt by the environment and mercury levels. And so the symphony cut down the trees to stop the birds from roosting on them. And then they came back again last year. So they're trying to give the message to the birds to go somewhere else. But so far it hasn't worked.